I've just come from 4 days of self-flagellation as my sanity was playing hide and seek with the comfort zone that I used to have, and now this reality of the world that I've opened for myself and for everybody else. Because the more you dive into a deconstructed Africa, a deconstructed Kenya, the more the helpless abyss of dysfunction, of structured failure, of systemic everything, racism, tribalism, extraction, capitalism, and all these foreign and destructive forces that are within our systems, that puts us in a quagmire of troubles and just being enslaved in this cage that we seem to be ever unable to come out of, or doesn't seem feasible and reachable in our lifetime. Then sometimes you just go 2 to 3 days and you just can't get it up. Anyway, to make matters worse, when I woke up this morning ready to see a new day, a new week, a new Monday, and push things, I was sunk deeper into the abyss of helplessness by the works of one Laikipia bandit. Over the weekend, he's or she, I'm not sure if it's a man or a woman, is a person we've been chatting. And in that chat, I decided to watch those videos, that the snippets that come here on TikTok in full, like trying to suss out, to understand the mind of the colonialist, of these people who come to Africa pretending or saying they're coming to help. Because if you know how they were thinking about us as Africans, as Kenyans, way back then, especially people who are saying, I've been here for 40 years, there is nothing here, there is whatever here, and they are still having that mentality in a way that they're being filmed in colored lens, in a colored film, right? It's not a black and white thing. Then it helps you to understand what is happening today. So let me take you through Kiki. That word, cookie, see Kiki, cookie. Who you like, keep here. And the words that she said, because they mean everything, and they mean everything. By that I mean they mean everything in that she means what she says, but they mean everything in that it means that the structure of our society was created with that mindset, and the society means Kenya and Africa. So, wacha niwaangalie vizuri. I was not looking at the camera because I'm still shy, wrecked by my self-diagnosed hide and seek. Anyway, so the words that she used was that if they don't curb or do something about the herders, the pastoralists in Samburu, in Laikipia County, there's going to be nothing left there in Laikipia County in terms of wildlife and conservation of the environment as she saw it. This woman, who has taken hundreds of thousands of acres of the same pastoralist who inserted herself, and many others did, came to our land, took the land, and then now is saying there is no land for people to keep their cattle. In fact, she derisively calls it liquid gold, walking gold, because she says they consider cattle to be money, which is money. But what is money? In her words, like I'm analogizing what she said, what is all that money? In the fact that 40 years to come, because I'm guessing this was 40 years ago or something, there will be no wildlife, there will be no environment left in Kenya because these cattle are too much and too many, and she needs to conserve this whole land for herself to preserve the wildlife. Like, what is the use of having cattle, of these people having money, of these people using this land for rearing, for grazing, while she could sit here pretty with 100 and something, 70,000 acres of land for wildlife? And one of the things I've said, that one of the most racist and extractive sectors we have in Kenya is tourism, is because of that. Tourism in Kenya still takes Africa as a place without people, where you come, see 70, 100,000 acres of land with just wildlife left free, while people are cramped together. And when you look at all these places with wildlife, all the places with national parks and all these conservancies, the people there are deliberately kept so poor so that the tourists can extract, and they have all this endless land, which somehow the collaborator, the British, the African government has decided cannot be used for any other purpose but to keep wildlife in those prehistoric elements, while the rest of the world has moved in, while populations has continued to grow, while people need the land to build, to get food, to keep their cattle, while it is even their land which they primarily and privately and previously coexisted in a way that ensured there is already the preservation of the wildlife, that right now they did a very good job of reducing, of removing, of killing, of poaching, to the extent that we had extinction level events. And we do have some animals that have been made extinct by the poaching of the same colonialists. Look at what they did to elephants. The elephants became keyboards. Entire things that we had preserved for generations, for millennia, were taken by these people, and yet now they want to play savior. And that is the tragedy of the white man coming to offer solutions to the African. They came, they destroyed. And then to remain viable, to remain like they are correcting, because some of that came from, you have imported too much ivory, too many leopard whatevers, too many lion teeth, all the claws and hooves and whatevers they took from Africa, took it to their world, and then now are coming to preserve, to conserve, simply because you want to have this 70, 80,000, 100, 200, 400,000 acres of land. And you don't want the African to keep cattle, because this working gold pisses you off, because how can they keep cattle while you could keep 2 or 3 rhinos and make billions by saying you are preserving the last remaining wildlife? In Kenya, wildlife is treated better than people. It is treated better than people in terms of its infrastructure, the support it gets, and the care it is given. It has its own special police, special hospitals, special care that Kenyans themselves don't have, and Kenyans pay for this by the taxes we pay and by the cost of those animals being kept here in a way that promotes only the white eye, the white gaze, while the African had effectively been able to live with these animals. We are the only continent in the world that still preserves animals in that way. When you come to a place like Kenya, because of the way we lived and coexisted and have coexisted so effectively and without annihilation tendencies, because this is also the cradle of humankind. This is where Homo sapiens belong, are born, are kept, have evolved. We knew how to exist. We hunted, we trapped, we killed, but we did not extinct our animals. We did not just say we are all going to eat buffalo meat and kill it and remove it like they did. We have not done that to our wildlife. They did that. Yet, they bring their own imported genocidal people ending and tribal ending tendencies with their guns, with their weapons. They first annihilate everything, and then they remain here to recover. And in that recovery, it is now at the cost of the people. So you tell me how you remain sober when this is the world that I have indulged and dived myself into. Anyway, watching that and watching another person coming to say that, another white man also, coming to say that there is no need for the African to have all this land and they don't know what to do with it. Kenyans, remember, in the scramble for Africa, in the taking of Africa, in the removal of the African from the African land, the first thing they did was to take the land and give it to the crown. So that now for us to belong, to be part of this, it was through a piece of paper. Papers they made, created, and wrote. So that now somebody, for the African, you don't have land unless you have kipande. You don't even belong unless you can be marked. They have marked you and you've provided their labor. The people who are taken now became labor, the land became theirs. This is the tragedy that was introduced. And so the world that is, the world that she talks about, whatever she brought in that time, whatever the white man brought, is the same thing now we see today. They did that to our education. They did that to our religion. It is the same thing for those who keep wondering what was the benefit, so that they could remain here and now bring their own religion, which gives them a lot of money and takes up all our oxygen. And finally, they've done that to our systems of government and ourselves, our own place. They are talking of conservation of what they destroyed. Shame.